Hello everybody, welcome to Expressions Craft Studio. We're back and today I'm going to show you how to download fonts on your Windows based computer. So this won't work for iPads or Macs or whatever you guys are using. Sorry, I don't know how to do that stuff. Um, but what you're going to do is you're going to go out to your internet browser. Now I use Google. It's my favorite, but everybody has their own favorite. It doesn't really matter what you use. Just pick, whatever browser you're using. And you're going to search for free fonts. And when that is going to pull up a number of different sites where you can download free fonts. Now, I have used most of these at one time or another. I've definitely downloaded fonts from 1001freefonts.com and Dafont.com. Those are probably the most popular. I have not used Font Squirrel um, or Font Space, but there are plenty of fonts. If you love fonts like I do, you may already have figured this out. But if you haven't and you want to install more fonts on your computer so that you can use them in your craft projects, which is what I primarily do, but you can use them for anything. You can use them um, if you're into publishing or any kind of marketing or anything like that. Fonts are a great thing to have because fonts kind of help set the tone and the feel for what's to follow. Or at least that's how I feel. So we're going to get started. We're going to go into I'm going to go into Dafont because that's the one I've used most recently. And there's a couple of options you have here. You can either just start scrolling down and seeing what's out there, or you can search for a specific type of font. They have fancy fonts and foreign look fonts and techno, bitmap, gothic, basic, script, dingbats, and holiday. Now, dingbats and probably holiday are a good source of font images that are actually images and not text or alpha characters. You can use those in, like, primarily I use them in Design Space with my Cricut for designing cards and banners and any number of paper crafting projects or vinyl projects. So you can get some really cute images from those that you might not be able to find in Design Space. Now, Design Space has a lot of images, so you might be able to find in there. But if you don't have a paid subscription to Design Space and you need to find your own images, dingbats and holiday fonts can be a good source for some of those. Um, and they are free for personal use, and that's something you need to know. These fonts that are free for personal use, which means you can't resell the font. Um, there's limited use on it, and it kind of depends on the font. There's limited use on how many times you can use them for craft projects if you're selling the finished craft product. Um, I don't know who's tracking that, who's keeping score, but you should be aware of that because there are some limitations with some fonts. Um, Having said that, let's go out and pick a font. What automatically pulled up here were the recently added fonts, and I see one that I kind of like right off the bat, Orange Slices. I don't have anything that looks like that. I have a lot of script fonts because I love script. I have a lot of swirly fonts because that's my jam, but I don't have anything like this. I think this Orange Slices is a super cute font. So we're going to go to download, and it's going to download it. Now I want it to go into my downloads folder, and as you can see here, that's where it's selected to go. Um, and I do that just because if everything that I download is in one place, it's going to be easier for me to find later. So I'm going to hit save, and it's downloading, as you can see right here. It's kind of um, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go out to Windows File Explorer, and we're going to go into the download folder, and I am going to look for this zipped folder that we just downloaded, which is Orange Slices zip. So you're going to double click on that, and I want to extract all, and I'm going to extract it to, looks like my users, back to my download folder, so that's okay. So I'm just going to click extract, and then we should be able to go to downloads, and you can see it should be in here somewhere. Oh, there it is right there. It's in its own folder. So I'm going to open it, and then I can select both of them. So what I did was I clicked on the top one, orange slices, held my shift key down and then my arrow key to select both of those. Then with the cursor over those highlighted files, I'm going to right click, and now I'm going to install. And I want to install for all users. If you have multiple users on your system, or just depending on the way your system is set up, if you don't install for all users, if you just hit install, you may not be able to find these fonts when you go into your other applications and want to use them. So you're going to install for all users, and it tells you it's installing one of two fonts, and it's done. What you'll want to do now is you'll want to reboot your computer, whether it's a laptop or a standalone or a desktop, whatever you call it. You're going to want to reboot it, and that isn't always necessary, but it is beneficial to go ahead and do that for those instances where it will be necessary. I tend to leave my laptop on for days at a time, and when you're installing new things, you really do need to reboot, because that just helps kind of clean everything up and get it ready to go. So um, without rebooting, though, I'm going to go to what's this? It's called Wordmark, I think. Wordmark.it. Okay, so there is this great little tool that you can find, again, using your browser, and it's called Wordmark.it, and it helps you find fonts that are on your computer. So you go to that website, and you can type in a phrase. I'm going to type in Expressions Craft Studio, which is the name of my business, and I'm going to hit enter. And it pulls up all of the fonts, or it should be all of the fonts that you have installed on your computer. Now that one was called Orange Slice, so we're going to have to scroll way down, because I have, as I said, hundreds of fonts, and you can see there is no end to the fonts I have. We are in the C's, and we need to get to the O's. We're in the F's now, so we're getting a little closer. We're still in the F's. So I'm just scrolling down until I get to the O's. And here we go. We've gone past them just a little. So now I was telling you there's a lot of fancy flourishes and stuff in the dingbats, and some of the other fonts have them as well, but you can guarantee that dingbats will have them. But this one's called Ornaments, and look at that. There's some beautiful stuff in there. And Ornaments, Labels, and Frames also has some beautiful images that you can use for your card making, paper crafting, whatever you're using that you might need some fancy fonts for. So there's my Orange Slices font. Looky there, I've got the solid, kind of bold font, which was one of two, and then the two of two was the outline font. So the great thing about that is you can layer them and make the outline a different color, and so you get what looks like a two-tone or shadow effect of your font. But there it is installed and probably ready to use. Some of the applications will work without rebooting, some won't, like I said earlier, so it pays to reboot your system. And once I do that, I will be able to see that font, because I've done it before. So I don't want to drag you through all of that, but trust me, it works. So we're going to get out of here. We're just going to go back to the canvas, and we're going to get rid of that. I don't need that on there. So anyway, that's how you install fonts on your system. As long as you remember to reboot, you'll be good to go. And don't forget that fonts are a great source of images for your arts and crafts project, um, or projects, I should say. So thank you for joining me today. I hope this helps somebody. If you like what you saw, if you learned something great, please give this video a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe to my channel and my Facebook pages, where I'm constantly going to be providing tips and tricks. For those of you who uh, want to learn a little something extra or just want to have a slightly better of understanding of how things work, um, we're all learning something new every day, or at least I hope we are. And I just like to be able to share what I've learned with fellow crafters, because that is my passion. And until the next time, happy crafting.